All right, this Hangout on air is live. Thank you guys for joining us on OreAni Halloween special. Small cast with us today. It is short notice that I put this out, so we got Albert with us.
Oh,
And we got Triple.
hey.
How is this possible? Uh, Today with us, we also have special guest Akarin in her Black Rock Cheater uniform, getting ready for Halloween. All right. So today, for our Halloween special, we're just going to go through with a few titles that we saw that were very enjoyable and kind of fit a Halloween theme. I know there's hundreds of different titles out there that are, I guess, you might find scary, gory, or even just have like demons and stuff that might fall into it. If we don't mention it, go ahead and just comment later on. Let us know what you think is really good for Halloween to share with. So, any of you guys want to start off first, or?
Sure, I guess. So let's see. I was thinking about what Halloween themes could be, and obviously haunted house and things that are scary, especially horror, would be appropriate. Not just the fact that they're monsters and things, but I looked through a fair number of lists about various titles of anime titles that would fit into the horror genre, and it's actually fairly small. There might be horror elements in several titles, but going through that list, my number one would be a title that recently aired, I believe it was last year, called, there we go, sharing, Another. So it is based on a mystery horror novel that got adapted into a anime. It also has a manga adaptation, and there was also a live action film that was released. So the anime series was produced by PA Works in 2012. So what's the story about? It's a little bit hard to describe, but basically some years ago, I think it's like 20-some years ago, a student in a middle school class passed away, and that why she passed away isn't clear, but the unexpected death puts the students and teachers at kind of a loss because she was very popular, very well liked, and they start pretending like she's actually still there. And by doing so, somehow there's a spiritual connection of some sort, and in their graduation picture from middle school, there is an extra person that shows up. And the story, that's the backstory. So in the present, a young kid named Koichi transfers into this class because his father is away, and he's staying with his grandparents and aunt. And as he gets into this class and the school, he's involved in this mystery of what exactly is going on. And he finds out that people in this particular class, class 3-3, they or their relatives will experience death. Like someone will die. So, it's one of those 10 little Indian things where people start dying off and you're never quite sure who the next person might be. So as an anime, I really enjoy this. The best thing to do is to watch this in a dark room because there are a lot of shadows. As you can see here, this is from the opening. And watch it in a dark room, and also with a really good sound system, because the sounds play also a critical role in where the ambiance. It's not just the music, but the sound design is quite excellent. So Let me show you a couple other images. These are all from the opening, and you can see like that's the school. It's not like the greatest shape. It's not the pristine white that you see in all these, school and love love comedy school anime. So it's there's rust. It looks kind of run down. Again, a lot of shadows. Let's see, next one. There's also uh, a doll shop that is featured where the main character Koichi and the other main character, the heroine of the show, Mei, often meet, and those dolls are kind of creepy. So this one doll is, I believe, in a coffin. Um, that's just the chandelier. Here's another doll where, instead of arms, it has wings. Here's another one. So yeah, it's full of ambiance, and you really do need to get into the mood. There are things that are not quite well explained, even to the very end. So don't expect everything to be uh, explained. But I do highly recommend it. Um, yeah, and I would not read anything on the wiki or a lot of the summaries that some anime review sites might have, because there's probably a fair amount of spoiler. So it's better if you watch it cold, not knowing, except that it's a thriller mystery with horror elements in it, and that there are some gruesome death scenes. It doesn't really start picking up on the death until towards the very end, but there are deaths starting in like episode 3 on. So uh, that is my number one recommendation for a horror anime.
All right. I think this didn't this come out like in 2012 or 13?
2012, correct.
Yeah, the 12. So it's been out for quite a while. I remember getting into it. Never saw the last episode though. I heard that's where everything kind of happens.
Kind of, but last episode, yeah, last episode does kind of fall apart in many ways, but still very. I really enjoyed it, and even that last episode, I did enjoy it. So,
So this was 11 episodes, right?
I think it was 12. Let me make sure.
I thought it was like 11 with an OVA, but I can't remember.
Uh, List of episodes is listed as 12, and there was a OVA in addition to that, I believe.
Hmm. Well, I guess 11's as far as I saw because I know I didn't watch the last one.
You should go finish it.
I just might. So did the OVA have anything to do with the story, or was it just?
It's a prequel, so you don't want to watch it till the end, I think. It's all about May and her circumstances.
All right. So Triple A, do you want to share next, or should I go?
He's on mute.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to share with you Suku Yomi Moon Phase. It's actually quite old already, and it's not a horror anime. It's more like a laugh comedy, but it has like horror elements that not essentially not very horror-like, but more like vampires coming and stuff like this. I think I should start screen sharing.
Oh man, I remember Moon Phase.
Yeah, I don't have enough enough screens. Essentially, the story starts off with a guy, a Japanese guy, visiting Germany, a town in Germany in like Bavaria near the Donau, and he's like photographing scenery with a girl on a big fortress.
Hmm.
And on the next day, when his pictures were developed, he kind of yeah sees that the girl is not on the pictures anymore. Uh,
Vampire.
it's a vampire. As he works for a magazine that is kind of for the occult, he kind of has these, let's say, moments quite often. He mostly photographs ghosts and stuff. But once he is in Germany, he kind of meets this girl. She is imprisoned in this castle, and she kind of wants to go out of the castle, searching for her mother. But yeah, the story overall is more like a laugh comedy. It has like 25 episodes plus an OVA, but don't watch the OVA. um, yeah, it's mostly romance and yeah, a little bit of edgy. The edgy elements essentially are top notch for its century. The censoring is done better than today. There are, I think that I don't have any pictures, but um, yeah, it's the most natural edgy scenes you will get in anime today. Yeah, so it's most likely for Zeus that kind of want to watch a laugh comedy, and yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's it.
So
I
I've
recommend.
watched that series way back in the day. Truthfully, the only thing that really stuck in my memory is that opening
Oh
sequence.
yes, I forgot that. The opening scene is the most catchy opening scene ever done, ever done, and it should stay that way. Essentially, well, the name is what's the name? What was the name again? I think it was Tsukuyomi Moonface, Nico Mimi Mode, and
Oh,
this.
I know what you're talking about now. Uh, one of the podcasts, anime podcasts, Anime Pulse, they use that theme song.
Oh
So
god,
yeah, Neko Mimi Modo.
it's the greatest
Right.
song in anime history.
It is very catchy and it will get stuck in your head.
Forever. Yeah, it's kind of a funny anime, and I recommend watching it if you're into romance anime comedy shows. Overall, the art style is not top notch for today's uh, yeah stuff, but at least it is still watchable, I think. Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
sorry. Give me a second. I'll go ahead and go next. So, real quick, the title I'm going to share with you guys is pretty popular. Let me see here.
Is it Pokemon?
Oh, no, no, no. Here, Blood, the Last Vampire.
Oh.
So, I decided to choose this because it was pretty interesting. One thing I did think it takes place during Halloween or during the Halloween event. I remember there was like some kind of costume party at one point. So that's what's making me think of Halloween. So maybe it doesn't take place, but as far as I know, it does in my mind. But Blood has actually been pretty big. I think it's even have like a live action movie out there that you can.
Yeah, it was so-so, but there's been several iterations of the Blood story, so including what was the last one that they did? Blood Plus or Blood
Blood
C?
Sea? Yeah, Blood Sea.
Yeah.
So it's had a few different versions, two different series. They're totally different from each other. All of them are different from each other as far as art wise, but um, another interesting thing about this video, which I thought the anime, was it's in dual languages. It's not pure Japanese or pure English. It's Japanese and English. They got when you're watching it, there's no selection just to pick pure Japanese or English because of that. So it's for the anime. I was very enjoyable at the time. It was pretty good. Um, very well done. Though I would have to say though, because of the English, I think most of the English was done by even Japanese actors. So some of their English was kind of very awkward
Atrocious.
how they spoke. Yeah. So it did fall low on that, but overall, when I was watching it, I enjoyed it a lot. It was
Mm.
pretty fun.
How many episodes?
It's actually just a movie I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
I know the first series, or maybe not the first series, but
It's a full
it
season.
came out was around 52 episodes or something like that, or it was pretty long.
Oh.
And then Blood Seed came out. Let me check. We'll do a quick check and see how long it is.
Okay.
Blood Plus series. And I know it was really long, but I couldn't even watch it all. Episode's 50.
Wow. It's pretty unusual.
Yeah. Then of course they got Blood Sea, which came out with a movie as well, and a series, which was 12 episodes in one movie. And
That was the Clamp design, right? Character designs by Clamp.
yes, Blood Sea was that.
Okay.
Blood Sea was kind of strange in its own way because it started off as a normal daily lives, school, bright, everything's really good. But then once it hit nighttime, everything changed, and it was pretty gory show as well. A lot of blood and everything all over the place. But if anything, if you don't have time to watch in series, Blood the Last Vampire is a nice simple video that runs. What is this? I don't think it's that long, like an hour and a half or 45 minutes.
Oh, that's pretty short.
Yeah. But it's been out for a while. What is this? Since 2000?
Yeah.
So blood. So I don't know if anyone's watching, but oh, so it shows right here. You guys pick this up. or have any questions for us, we do have the answers question thing on there. So you can ask us questions and we'll be there to answer. But Albert, you want to go with your next title?
Sure. So let's see. Next title I was thinking about various monsters, obviously, and the different, Halloween-themed monsters. Obviously, you've got the, vampire, which you just went over. I don't think there's really too many Frankenstein's monster type anime where they talk about creating artificial life. There's obviously a ton of Japanese folklore that focuses on very mythological creatures and ghosts and spirits, including, what is it? Right now, it's a very popular title, I believe, called Screen Share Yokai Watch, which I've never watched, so I don't actually know what it's about. All I know is there's like spiritual monsters, and it's the greatest craze that's going on in Japan. I think they've overtaken Pokemon, according to some people. But that's not what I want to talk about. So, the next
I have
title
seen 2 episodes of it.
is it. I mean, it's a kids show, right? It's airs on primetime, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's targeted very much towards the kids. I mean, his whole object was trying to make friends with ghosts. Or there's
Okay.
that yokai, I guess you call him. So
Yeah.
when he makes friends with him, he gets this little coin. Then he can call upon them to help him in different situations.
Sounds like a card game too. All right. So yeah. Anyway, back to monsters, and the title I chose next is this one. It is called Blue Gender, and it is a science fiction with pretty much horror elements. So the story is that the guy you see in the middle there with the red hair, is Yuji. He is diagnosed with a serious disease called, I think it was B cells or beta cells, and he's put into cryogenic stasis until a cure could be found. So, the opening reminds you of Futurama, right? You go into stasis. Now he awakens 22 years later and is being rescued, I put that in quotes, by the woman in the background there, Marlene. And it turns out that he has no idea what's going on. There are these giant insectoid-like monsters that are battling Marlene and her troops, who are in various armor and mechas. And you might think, oh, that sounds like a standard science fiction, but as you can see from one of the DVD covers here, they're covered in blood, and that is it's a quite gory film. I remember seeing this on, I think it was Cartoon Network, and I'm pretty sure some things were censored, but you get scenes like, oh, the soldiers have all been torn apart, right? And you get scenes where the monster is being torn apart and all their internal organs are spilling. That's the one that mechs slicing open, I forget. They've got different names, but and a guy being eaten by a monster and so on. So you tend to side with the protagonist, and he's kind of a wimpy kid. In fact, he kind of pisses himself during the first battle rescue operation, and yeah, you feel bad for him because he has no idea what's going on. Apparently, in the 22 years that he's been asleep, these monsters called Blue suddenly appeared, don't know from where, and they are essentially killing everything. Well, by everything I mean all humans, and they seem to, put the humans, like, after killing them, sticks pushes them into some sort of resinous ball like you see here. So those are all humans just squashed together, all their body parts into these balls that they leave behind. And it's a struggle between the soldiers, Yuji, who also becomes recruited, and these blue, and the mystery behind what's going on. So there are horror elements, like I mentioned. There are a fair amount of blood and guts and piss and also nudity. So blue gender. If you like science fiction and you want something a little bit off the beaten track, you can take a look at this older title. And this one was from, I think, just around year 2000, maybe. 1999 to 2000, original run. It was directed by Ryosuke Takahashi of Armor Trooper Votoms and Gasaraki fame. It's got a very military bent, but within it you also have the psychological tension of Yuji as he becomes this hardened and sometimes battle-crazed soldier, and it's his struggle between his own humanity and what it means to, is it worth surviving at any cost, even if you lose your humanity? So I enjoyed it from both just the action, gore part, and also from the psychological journey that the main character has to go through. And I would recommend it if you like mecha shows and you like violent action.
Yeah, this is clearly a recommendation for those that we don't like gory anime. But I actually liked the story after the second half. It was clearly something inspiring. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what happens at the very end, to tell you the truth. So I can't remember if the resolution was good or not, but I think I watched at least 3/4 of the way through, and it kept getting better,
Yeah.
and I thought it had a very interesting arc. And sometimes, despite the savagery and the gore of these monsters tearing people apart, sometimes the people were more awful to each other than the monsters were. So
it kind of reminded me of like Starship Troopers for the first 3 episodes. But
yes.
after that, it was clearly getting better and better. Yeah, the ending was really, really nice. I think I had to watch it twice.
Okay.
The first half was kind of difficult for me to watch, and the second half was like, wow, this is getting good, and let's watch this one go.
Yeah, this might, since it's an older anime, clips of it might be on YouTube, so people might want to check that out. Actually, I should check it out, see if there are any full episodes. But it was, I believe it was aired dubbed, and I watched the dub, which, for the year 2000 was not bad, but compared to recent dubs, you may be disappointed. So just be aware of that.
All right, thank you. Triple E, guys, you got another one?
Yeah, actually I've got Mao Tsukai ni Taisetsu no Koto Natsu no Sora, the second season. So,
I'm gonna have to write that down. That's too long.
just write down Natsu no Sora. Gotta start seeing for you.
Okay, yeah, I see that. I guess the English title is Some Days Dreamers.
Yeah, Natsuno Sora. Sunday Streamers Natsuno Sora. Sunday Streamers was the first title, or first season, but the seasons don't have anything together. I think they're just in the same universe,
Okay.
so they are standalone. Actually, I've posted something about it like last year on Anime Talk. So
So what's the story about?
yeah, Natsuno Sora is about a little girl, well, not little, but actually in a high school days, and she has the ability to use magic, and magic is limited good in this universe. It actually starts with her getting notified by the Bureau of Magic, which kind of, yeah, is directing the magic in the world they're in. And she is now going to, let's say, a special school for magicians. But I don't think the magic is very important in this, let's say, anime. It's more about the drama that is behind it. And this anime doesn't include any monsters, doesn't include any horror elements, but I think the magic just justifies watching it on Halloween. But they don't flying on brooms. Yeah, but I thought I should mention this anime. Yeah, the art of this anime is very special. The backgrounds are very, very lifelike. As you can see, we've got very realistic backgrounds, but very nice effects indeed for the year of production. And let's say the characters are drawn very simplistic. Let's say if you can see. This is the most edgiest scene in the anime. The characters are drawn very simplistic. So just like one tone or two, like a shadow. They don't have different tones in the hair color. Very simplistic. But actually, the anime is very, let's say, you can see here, very detailed in the backstory, and not in the backstories, on the backgrounds, in the backgrounds, and somehow it's compelling with the backgrounds saying there's something behind everything. It's deeper than it seems.
Mm.
At least that is what I thought after watching it at least 4 times. Well, the girl kind of moves to Tokyo, the only city in Japan that has this school for magicians. There are not a lot of magicians in this world, and they kind of have, let's say, rules for the magicians, what they can do, what they're allowed to do, with what they're disallowed to do. And they kind of have to follow this rule. Yeah. After they finish the school, they kind of get a they can kind of join a magical, let's say, bureau, something like magician office.
Mhm.
They're just something like law offices, just with magicians. These magicians offices can take work from normal people. Like some people just want to taste a special milk, and the magicians have to resolve the problems of the customers. Sometimes these tasks are just simplistic. Others are like not possible, and sometimes magicians just wonder why they should come if they just could, let's say, resolve the problem themselves. But they cannot get to it and kind of do their work. As you can see here, they're in Tokyo. You kind of, I think they're doing the backgrounds with a special software that made a cartoonish work over.
Yeah, it looks like photographs.
Yeah. And that's all over the anime. It's lovely. I just don't really want to spoiler the story any more than I did.
Okay.
But yeah, the story is very, very good, and I recommend it to everyone watching Slice of Life because the ending is very can catch you. Yeah, I don't want to spoil.
Okay.
Yeah, especially if you watch this anime, you will notice that the background music and the music included are top notch. They included a whole, let's say, CD with 12 or 13 songs with this anime. They're complete songs, not like original soundtrack, but it's a whole CD with all the songs included in the anime. Every episode has another full song included, and it's mostly acoustic guitar, I think, and it's just wonderful. If you don't, if you like music, this is also an anime for you. Yeah. I think that's it.
Okay.
So, I would admit that it was really good looking, very fun, but for some reason it was really slow paced as I was watching it. Yes, at that time I wasn't really ready for a slice of life. That might be the reason, but
Yeah, it's
I
very
would warn
slow.
people that. Yeah, it's. I mean, half the time I was like, "Is something going to happen?" So
Something
if
is
you have,
gonna happen.
if you think there's going to be a lot of, just because they have special abilities, something really exciting is going to happen. That's how I was. I was kind of disappointed. Maybe something else did happen later on, but I kind of quit because it was moving too slow.
Mm. Yeah, it's very slow and it's a lovely anime. Well, it says class, but no, there's not much happening in, let's say, 2/3 of the anime. They're just slice of life, what happens with the girl, the with her new friends in the school, so on, and what problems do magicians have in this world.
All right, my turn again. With you guys, I'm going to share you with another title that's actually really old. It says back in 1997. Ooh. Funny thing about this title was how the box worded it and how they marketed it. I found very funny. I'll show you the cover here they got. If you read up there on the top, it's a startling and powerful film. If Alfred Hitchcock partnered with Walt Disney, they'd make this picture. So back in the day when I saw that, it was pretty interesting, pretty funny, and it got me to watch it. But as I watched it, though, truthfully, I hated this movie. I did not want to watch it. But once it started playing, I had to watch it to the end. I couldn't stop.
You're not a quitter.
I mean, it's just this one movie. I don't know why, but now I kind of enjoy it. I won't lie. It's really good to me now. But back in the day, I hated this. I never wanted to watch it, but as soon as it was playing, I had to watch it to the end. It's a very creepy type of show. Like there it says, Satoshi Kon's animated psychological thriller.
Mm.
It was throwing you around in loops, going all over the place. And as you can see there's quite a bit of blood. And it's a very adult film. It has scenes of, I guess, kind of like a rape scene and all sorts of different things going on in there that, as you're watching it, it just gets weird, and you're like, it's hard to explain just because of how this movie was going. But to me, it's something I watch during Halloween time. I have the DVD now. I've actually had it for a while. And whenever Halloween comes up, I put this in just to watch it now. But if you ever watch these trailers, it's pretty funny. You have this one line all the time, "Excuse me, who are you? Excuse me, who are you?" And this was during a time when I was watching most of my anime in English dubs back in the 1990s. It was easier to get than Japanese subtitled. I think you paid more for subs than you did for dubs when you went out there and bought them on VHS. Stuff like that.
Classic.
But yeah, I mean, this is more for adults, I would say. So if you have some time, you want to check something new, you guys should try this out. Have you guys seen this?
So
No.
I have not, but I have like 4 Satoshi Kon works on my shelf that I need to go through. It's a little while ago in Anime Talk, Sean posted, what's your Hall of Shame, and yeah, Satoshi Kon's work is in my Hall of Shame. So I do need to watch all his stuff. And I know a lot of it plays, there's a lot of psychological thriller, and it throws you for a loop, So his works are known for that. But yeah, it's on my list to watch. What about you, Tripoli? Have you watched this?
Actually, I didn't, and I don't know what is this all about. I've only read that DVD cover, but it's original.
Well, I don't think you're gonna expect a Disney ending.
No.
Yeah, like I said, that poster is the first thing that got me into wanting to watch this. But whew. Let's see, what do we have here? We'll just move on to the next.
Sure. So next one for me is just very brief. Let me see if this works. Yeah. So when we started talking about Halloween, I was like, Halloween? What do I know that's actually has Halloween in there, right? And Halloween is not a very big holiday in Japan. It is there. People do know about it, but unlike Christmas, which is completely taken over, into the Japanese culture, morphed and has become this weird thing. Halloween, not yet. But there is a movie with a pretty significant Halloween scene, which I shall share here. Is it showing? Yep. So this is Cowboy Bebop, Knocking on Heaven's Door, the movie. In case you want to watch it, yeah, you can watch it and even before you watch the series. But I think most viewers would have seen Cowboy Bebop. It was super popular. It aired on Cartoon Network. Had a fantastic dub cast. It's one of the few that I actually like watching either Japanese or English. And the climax of this movie takes place on Mars during a Halloween parade, and I thought that this entire sequence was great because much like how Christmas, got taken in and morphed in Japan, Halloween eventually could become like this. Let's see if this plays. So there's a giant thing with that says Happy Halloween. Fight sequence, and I don't think the rest of the parade is going to show in this clip. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a really good clip, but it's something that I would. The movie itself is fantastic, so if you haven't watched it, you should. And then the climax during the Halloween parade was quite interesting, and how culturally it had been taken over by Mars to make it almost like a national holiday, similar to how Thanksgiving, parade is in the U.S. and has the parade and the floats and the big balloons, and that's kind of how it's depicted. So, a shout out to Cowboy Bebop, Knocking on Heaven's Door, the movie.
All right, Tripley.
Well, I don't have any other pictures prepared, but I would recommend Karin. It's actually an anime about the vampire family in Japan.
What's it called?
Karin.
Karin. I think they call it Chibi Vampire in a manga.
No. Right. Let me answer in German. It's mostly about a Shibi vampire visiting the school, a Japanese school, and kind of getting through life and getting into a romance with somebody. And as Tsukuyomi Moonface, this is actually quite a good. Yeah, exactly. It's quite edgy, I think, and there's a lot of blood. So.
By plot, you mean plot?
No, blood. I mean, there's a lot of blood.
Okay.
Because
I thought you were talking about plot.
No, there's actually a lot of amount of blood, and yeah, the Shibi vampire kind of has a lot of nosebleeds, so and kind of gets all over the place. Yeah, it's quite funny. The performance is considerably quite good, and it's very enjoyable watching it with a family, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very fun show. I've watched it back in the day, and it's a very different take on vampires, I will have to say. And as I did mention here, they call it different names: Cheeky Vampire, Chibi Vampire, but I always remember it as Karin as well. That's how it first came out to me when I was watching it.
Right. I found an image there of the main cast, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the art style is very simplistic, even more simple than Last Sora.
So, yeah, it looks like it was originally a manga.
Yeah, I think the manga is the anime didn't close on the end with the manga, but the manga didn't continue that much more.
Yeah, I'm seeing 2003 to 2008 for the manga, and the anime was 24 episodes in 2005 to 2006.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a rom-com. Is there any harem action in there too, or?
I kind of
No,
don't
no.
remember, but I think it was not a harem anime, but it was a rom-com.
Okay.
Yeah, no harem elements from what I can remember. All right, moving on. So we've talked quite a bit about vampires. So let's go to something different, actually. It's in the work of getting another movie put out or video put out. I think it was back in 2012 or 13. It came out, an anime Mirai, which was a Little Witch Academia. Of course, witches are a very big part in Halloween. Got a lot of characters dressing up. And if you guys don't know, Anime Mirai is the Young Animators Training Project, and Studio Trigger worked on this. And they had a Kickstarter, so I think it's like next year they're going to be coming up with the second movie, right?
Yes.
Or hopefully we should have it, and we can see the continuation of this wonderful film. As you're watching, it's full of colors. There was a title. I missed it. No. Little Witch Academia. I can't get that title. Their license. It's a very short film. I think it was like 23 minutes, 24 minutes. About the size of
Something.
an average
It was
episode.
less than half an hour.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's a definitely a family movie. You can watch this with your children, if you have children, family, friends, adults. Anyone can really enjoy this film. It's really well done. You can actually, I believe, watch this on YouTube with subtitles and everything. Right? They have it posted right up there, right? Don't they?
I don't know. I forget where I saw it, but it wasn't
When they were
YouTube.
doing the Kickstarter, I know they had it on YouTube.
Oh, okay. Yeah, possibly. So definitely a very enjoyable title. Trigger, Studio Trigger did this to showcase what they could do, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. Also, the main protagonist is a female, a girl. You might think that it feels like with the popularity of Harry Potter that this might be some sort of ripoff, but I don't think so. I mean, the elements that got into Harry Potter, the school life and the struggles and all that, is different. I mean, the school life part is pretty common to many of these anime series and drama even. There is no great evil, there is no Voldemort behind the scenes. At least I could tell in this short. It was just this one little girl and some of her friends trying to have a normal school life and to graduate as full-fledged witches. So I really enjoyed it, and I would highly recommend it to anyone.
Yeah. After Inferno Cop, this was the piece of art that Trigger had to make, and it kind of worked for the whole world. And I think the newest Kickstarter project for Take Part 2 is kind of, another part of it. I'm happy to announce that I've got a sign by Takafumi Hori that did the key animations on Little Witch Academia.
Really? Nice.
Yeah, he was in Kassel in September.
Was that a convention?
Yep, the biggest fan convention in Germany.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. So let's see. When is it expected to? The second part.
15, right?
I thought so, but the whole coming to Kickstarter as a different kind of funding mechanism. There's been successes, most from the last couple of times. The most recently, Under the Dog got funded, which is a major effort. Little Witch Academia was much smaller in funding goals. I'll try to. I think I've got a Kickstarter link here, so maybe you can post it.
So I think the difference between the two were Little Witch Academy was already going to be made. They just wanted the funding to make it longer, while Under the Dog was being produced all just via Kickstarter, I think.
Yeah. So the initial funding goal for Little Witch Academia 2 is 150,000 US dollars, and they raised 625. So yeah, they'll have like extras like the audio commentary and limited edition soundtrack. They increased the episode length. I believe they're planning on about, let's see, initial episode was supposed to be about 20-25 minutes, and they're gonna probably double that, I think, at least by like 15 minutes. So yeah, check out the Kickstarter link to see what might be coming down the road. But it's gonna be a while they had Kill La Kill, and currently they're doing Battle during the season to wrap up before they can fully get this completed. So release date is supposed to be sometime next year.
All right. So let's go ahead and move on. Do you guys have any other titles that aren't vampire related?
I've got another one.
Yeah, I do too.
Another vampire anime. So.
Seems to be your
What title is it?
Actually, it's a shoujo anime, and it's called Vampire Knight.
Vampire Knight. That sounds familiar
my
too.
God, that show.
Yeah, I kind of didn't watch it, but I heard a lot about it. And it seems like a lot of girls liked it very much, and it's recommended. I think it's a little bit deeper than the usual shoujo anime, I think. Just a recommendation, as I heard from many other shoujo fans.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. It's based on the manga. Is Vampire Knight based on the manga, Triply?
I think so. I think there's a publication out in Germany.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Vampire Knight. Then again, it is shoujo, so I'm not its target. But oh my gosh, whenever you go to conventions back in the day, I would say probably 5 years ago, I swear everyone was dressed up in that kind of uniform.
Kinda awkward.
Yeah, I have a video somewhere on my computer. I have to find it where I found someone dressed as Little Busters, and I took his picture, and we were having a discussion, and everyone kept on mistaking him from Vampire Knight because of his uniform. I'm like, that's not even close. He's like, it's a very funny video.
Different
Um,
class.
but a lot of crosses, black, white stripes all over the place. You can tell that uniform right off the bat. If you look it up, you can probably, if you've ever been to a convention, you've seen someone dressed up as it. Albert, you got anything else?
Yeah, so next title I have is share this one. Here we go. Is a title called Corpse Party, based on a survival horror video game. And I have not played the game. Apparently, Tenkun has. But yeah, the setting and the plot takes place in, well, it takes place in this alternate dimension that the main characters that you see here end up getting dropped into. So they are actually at a school called Kisaragi Academy, and at the end of their cultural festival, one of their friends is going to go away. So late night they were staying after school, which I don't know, you're not supposed to do, but apparently you can. And they're telling one of the girls that you see is telling a ghost story, and once the teacher finds them, and also one of the characters' little sister shows up because it's raining outside, they decide to have this a ritual to promise each other that they'll be friends forever, that they found. I think one of the girls found it on the net, and they performed this ritual, and yeah, bad things happen. So they experience an earthquake, but it's not really an earthquake, you know, and they get into this other dimension where apparently before this school was built, there used to be an elementary school where a series of grisly murders and disappearances occurred. That school got torn down, and the current high school got built on top of that land. But as you know, the land was never cleansed, I guess. So they end up in the other dimension, and it's a survival horror. So yeah, one by one, the student, the teachers, you know, bad things happen, and they need to try to escape from this dimension. So standard plots like blood coming out of the walls, or bloody handprints appearing. You know, it's pretty mild. And then, you know, it takes a turn for the pretty grotesque and gore-filled, including like half a torso. YouTube might censor this, who knows? And girl trying to escape from, you know, horrible things, spirits, visions, dead bodies. What else? Vomiting. And this, at the end of the episode, one of the girls ends up hanging herself. And it's got some fairly standard horror elements, like, you know, you never separate the party, right? But they do all the time. So girls separate and bad things happen. You're always like, don't open that door, don't do something stupid, and they do. Like in this scene, you know, one of the girls is hanging and she's still alive, right? And the other girl's like, oh my god, and let me get you down there, and she grabs hold of the other girl but ends up putting pressure on her. So she's hanging even harder. And I don't even understand how she hung herself, because there's no it's not like there's a kicked over chair or a kicked over pail. She's just hanging in the bathroom, so there's nothing to step off of or onto, right? So weird things like that. So it's probably not. It might have not been. You could explain it by not saying it was suicide, but she might have been driven to it by the evil spirits or whatever. But there are those moments where you survive, and obviously some of them go insane and go crazy, and others are killed in grotesque ways. And I did watch it through. It's only a 4-episode OVA, but it is grisly, and they're they're recreations of the elementary school children being murdered, and it's quite uncomfortable at points to watch. So if you like gore and that kind of slasher horror, I would recommend this. But for me, it was there's too many stupid moments, and then there were too many uncomfortable, gory moments involving children getting killed. So I can't recommend it to everyone.
I have to say, if you're playing the game, wear headphones. It makes the experience so much better. I was playing at work during my break, of course. Yeah. I had my headphone on, and I actually got tricked by the game. I thought someone was calling me, and I turned around and was looking around, seeing if someone was calling me by name or hey you or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but then I realized, oh dang it, it's a game. They have these like little sounds and this stuff. It's just really fun. I never picked it up when I didn't have headphones, and when I started playing with headphones, everything was so much better. The experience was better. All right, let's see. So Triple E had the other vampire. You had the ghost stories. What else was there? There's another anime Mirai. I was actually quite surprised with how many Mirais were kind of really dark. There was one called Death Billiards. That's kind of creepy and eerie.
Mm-hmm.
And another one, Wasudenagumo. That was done back in 2011. Nick turned me to that one, and it was kind of crazy because he kept on telling me for almost like a whole year, watch it, watch it, watch it. It took me a whole year to finally watch it, and I was surprised with it. So those are two more anime Mirais titles I would suggest that are kind of fun, maybe for Halloween. But do you guys have any more titles that might be more for children? Like, you can even go into another witch title. We got like Studio Ghibli, the Kiki, right?
Sure. But I don't really have anything for all ages. Yeah.
Another title, which I wouldn't say was too much horror, but often during Halloween you'll see a lot of videos on zombies, and of course we got High School of the Dead.
That is not for
zombies.
There's so much plot.
Like,
no, that's for
Something
everyone, I
out
swear.
what the hell?
Oh, snap. Okay, children. Let's see what else we got.
Something for children.
Something fun. How about superheroes? Would you recommend that? You always have a lot of people dressing up as superheroes.
Well, what do you mean? You mean just costume-wise? I mean, sure, dressing up.
I'm trying to think of stuff.
Yeah, I don't think it really fits the Halloween theme.
Well, I do want to make one quick call out. Halloween was mentioned in OreAni. Can't believe my sister's this cute. A friend runs a little confectionery thing, makes sweets, and I remember her coming up to Kyosuke and like, "Oh, look it, we're making these things for Halloween. You should try them out." Of course, Halloween isn't really that popular, but it's kind of fun to see that mentioned in that show.
Yeah. Don't know. Good question. How popular is it? Is it getting more popular or not? Last couple of years, and yeah, I would think it would be, but as you know, Japan has a problem with not having enough kids. So with a declining population, I don't know.
Do we have anything this season that's just coming out that you might just give a quick title call out that might be
Fall season?
a good theme for Halloween?
See?
I guess if you're into like otherworldly, not necessarily just horror, but like otherworldly things, spiritual things you can't quite see, then I guess a shout out to Mushishi. Mushishi is about episodic story about mushi, which are these spiritual creatures that only a select few can see, but they have an impact. And each episode, they talk about a different situation. And the titular character, Ginkgo, who is a mushi expert, he sometimes will only show up for a few seconds. But Mushishi is a great show for anyone.
Actually, I thought of Gui Sayanu Kajitsu, which
Really, truly? Okay.
yeah. Do we think of all ages now, or do we?
No.
But
I
well,
mean,
Gui Saya is just unpredictable right now.
well, I've watched the first three, and the story doesn't quite make sense. I don't know what they're doing with it, and it has the weakness of, being based on a visual novel. There's too many ecchi scenes, and I don't know. I mean, if you want to go the horror route, then this season, Parasite is a fantastic show about, well, this parasitic alien being that takes over the main character's right arm, and his struggle to know about these invaders, but not being able to come out himself for fear of discovery and confinement and or dissection. So that's a pretty gruesome title, and it's based on the seinen manga. I'm sure we'll go over it during the impressions that's going on tomorrow and probably next week too. But
well,
Of course.
if you want to watch a gruesome anime, watch Transformers. But wait for the DVDs or Blu-rays. Just well, censored.
Alright, so just real quick, Triple E posted here, some people commented, or what was that, a YouTube post of titles that might be fun for. Here's a list of horror anime that someone posted on YouTube. Serial Experiments Lane, which I don't know. That would be really horror. Dead Man Wonderland.
Yeah, horror.
Hellgirl or Jikoku Shoujo. Kara no Kyokai. Mirai Nikki. Shiki. I think Shiki does belong there. That one's kind of interesting. Ghost Hunt. Gantz. Higurashi. Elfenlight. And of course another which you brought up earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Some other really classic titles I kind of want to throw out there. Vampire Hunter D. Um, what else? Are there any like type of werewolf movies or anything? Do you guys know of?
There's not a good tradition of werewolf in Japan. There are traditions of shape changers called henge yokai, and the fox spirit being one of the most common, and similar with the tanuki, the raccoon dog, also is a classic shape changer. But along that lines, like a bakeneko, which is a cat shape changer. Um, there's ones for spiders and all kinds of things. So the tradition is there for shape changers, but the classic Western style werewolf, not so much. And I don't know of any anime. Um, I guess Wolf's Rain, maybe, but that's not what you typically think of when as a werewolf. So they're actually just wolves. So, um, oh, Wolf Spirit is in like Princess Mononoke. Um, what else? Yeah, but
I
the
remember one
classic
time
hybrid. Was that?
I know there's one show I saw that had a werewolf. I just can't remember the name of that show. I mean, it had a mixture of everything, vampires and stuff like that, robots, all sorts of different things. It was
That sounds more
something
like
this
a
guy became
comedy.
the vampires. Yeah, it's a comedy show.
Hmm.
Pretty, I
There,
can't remember. Corpse
there's a
Princess, maybe? I don't
older,
know.
there's an older anime called Akazukin Cha-Cha, Red Riding Cha-Cha, which is, I think, was a TV series and a couple of OVAs about a little girl that attends a elementary school, and her classmates are all witches or werewolves or um, psychic espers. So, but that one's a pure comedy and total craziness. But if you can find it, it's a really hilarious show. But that one. The boy was definitely a werewolf or maybe a were dog. No, it's a werewolf.
Oh man, just trying to think of the other title. I remembered. It's called Corpse Princess. This is something completely different from what I was thinking of earlier. Or Shikabane Hime had two
Yeah.
different series, and that one was pretty eerie too. At some points, I thought. I think this would be a pretty good show for Halloween as well. By Ganix.
What? A Gynax?
Of course, you can tell by the title Corpse Princess. You have these girls that get reanimated and they fight, and it's pretty strange. I've never seen the whole thing. I really want to watch the whole thing, but I can never find the time.
Um, had two television series, two cores of it, 2008 and 2009. Yeah, it's Studio Feel and Gynax.
What else for Halloween? Is that it? Or have we run out of stuff for Halloween?
I think if you
Correct.
do a search for, if you like vampire movies and you do a search for vampire anime, you'll come up with a list somewhere. Obviously, not a lot of these. They just Japan likes to take the idea of a vampire and just kind of change it around and make it their own. So, you can get vampire ecchi, you could get vampire harem, you could get vampire horror. You, you could get vampire more Eastern style vampire, like I think Shiki is more like that. Um, so you could get twilighty vampires that can exist during daylight, anything. So just be aware that even though this says vampire anime, it doesn't mean that you're going to get the classic, Dracula type vampire.
Yeah. If you got time, you could watch The Wall of Inuyasha. It involves werewolves.
Yeah, that is true. Inuyasha, Kagome, Inuyasha,
Old.
Kagome. But I think if you want something more psychological, I think you're better off trying to find like a more of a ghost or spiritual type anime, because those tend to be um, more interesting. However, what the Japanese think of horror and scary is not what Westerners might think of scary. So you do need to be aware of that. Um, Typically, horror stories are told not in the dead of winter, like Halloween, which is heading towards the cold days, but a lot of horror stories are told in the middle of summer in Japan, and consequently, some horror type things take place in the middle of summer. So um, it has to do with like the harvest season and ties to the natural cycle, but um, it seems weird that you're having ghost stories in high summer, but that's what they do. So there are
Um,
cultural
one thing I
differences.
do want to one thing I do want to call out and mention real quick, which I thought was pretty interesting and fun, was if you guys have ever seen the Animatrix. They have a bunch of short stories, and one of them was kind of like based on haunted houses, and how things are like that, or
I don't
haunted
remember this.
area. One of their little
Note.
stories.
Yeah, I did see the Animatrix, but I don't remember that particular story.
I don't think I've watched it. Sadly.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting how they explained it. Of course, how the haunted houses exist in the Matrix and stuff like that, or haunted areas, I guess you would say. So that's one little quick thing there. Also, um, there's another. I think there's like another show called Memories. They have these three short stories, and one of them was Magnetic
It's kind of a
Rose.
ghost story.
Yeah, that one might be fun to try to check out. Let's see. I guess that's it for us today. I mean, there's a lot of shows with demons and monsters, but I wouldn't really say they're Halloweenish. Like, of course, you got Natsume Yuchincho or something like that. But I wouldn't really say it's a Halloweenish type of thing.
Yeah, not really.
Um, if anyone else knows of any stories as you're watching this, comment, let us know. We'll check them out, see what we can find. But definitely Christmas is coming by. Lots of anime based off of that or based around that time. or some even just only around that time. I think there's a new Kickstarter show that the Santa Company, or there's even this one show that's really dumb. We'll explain it later. There's a it's Christmas comes by, but get ready for the fall season. We're going to be doing a review tomorrow, of course, around the same time. We'll be starting. If you want to join, once again, check out our community, Anime Talk, pretty simple name, and we post all our events there. Do you guys have any final words or anything?
Yeah.
Nope.
Kind of fix actually the head is off mostly. Yeah.
All right. If I could think of anything else, I'll be sure to post it later on. And that's it. Thank you guys for joining me.
Sure thing.
Bye-bye, everyone.